So I can build different shapes. I can stack them all up, make a tall tower. I can lay them on the ground to make a more tall tower, or a house with a chimney. Or I can make a shoe, a boot maybe if I made it a bit longer. The important thing was that you had to use all of the cubes, because it was, and you didn't break it up and start again. You moved things around to make different shapes. I could, if I wanted to, make a tree. So I'm moving it around to make a tree. And actually what Froebel did was he had a grid. And so children could put things on the grid and move things around so that they could keep the shape. So that grid was the same shape or the same size. Each square on the grid was the same size as one of these cubes. So I could make a tree, or it could be a lollipop, or I could make a pattern. Or I could find ways of moving them so that they balance in different ways. Oops. A lot of this is trial and error, you understand. It may or it may not work. Right, so but you have to, if you want to do something like this, you have to get it really finely balanced. So that's needs to come over. Let's just modify that again. Move it over so that we're roughly on half. See, it's a lot harder than it looks, isn't it? And then I put nothing on there. Oh, look, I've got a dog with 3 legs. You could build something like this, a thing, and that's what Froebel would call a form of knowledge. A form of life. And that's what you could build, something like a dog or a horse, and that is something that Froebel would call a form of life. So something from the real world that you can represent using the blocks. Or you could partition them in different ways. So I've got 4 blocks here and 4 blocks here. And that would be understanding of partition. I could move 2 blocks over there to make 6 blocks here and 2 blocks here. Or I could make 1 block here and 1 block here. So I've got 3 here and 5 here. And that's what Froebel would call a form of knowledge, an understanding of mathematical relationships or scientific relationships, thinking of balance, for example, knowing how to balance one thing on top of the other. That would be what he would call a form of knowledge. And then we can also make patterns. So I can make a symmetrical pattern using these blocks. There. Sorry. Move it over. I can make a symmetrical pattern like this. And that is what Froebel would call a form of beauty. So we have 3 particular ways in which children can use these materials. What he would call form of life, so something that represented something from the real world. A form of knowledge, So either a mathematical relationship or a scientific relationship or a form of beauty, pattern, symmetry. At the end of the day, once you'd finished using, or at the end of the session, once you'd finished using your blocks, you would put them back into the square to show that although things change and move, they always come back to where they were in the beginning.